to a sacred place where we speak our truth, share our knowledge, and shatter limiting beliefs. We are your hosts, Vanessa and Isabel. All right, well, another beautiful day here in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Woo.
In the beautiful nature.
Sawadee-ka.
Khap khun ka. So I love how, in previous episodes on our IBVB show here, we've discussed how we met, how we attracted each other a little bit. The first trip that we actually took together, our Asia tour, some of the challenges that we went through and that we were able to overcome together, which is really awesome and beautiful and incredible lessons that we've learned. The travel mindset marketplace that we started in Chiang Mai, Thailand, our first kind of like entrepreneurial journey that we had to make something happen. So we talked about a lot of awesome things and just reminiscing upon our journey while we're sharing it. And we were speaking yesterday how it's really awesome, right?
It's an amazing feeling having the ability to talk about what happened in the past with the knowing that we were able to overcome all that. And that's not our life anymore.
Yeah.
We've been able to grow so much from that. And it's a blessing to be in this position now where we can discuss the past and feel great about it. I feel sometimes when the past is brought up, sometimes it could be melancholy or it could feel some type of way or I should have done this or I should have done that. And looking back at our past, yes, absolutely, there's always things that I could have done, I could have said, I could have, improved on. But that was actually the learning that both you and I and everyone had to go through. So
yeah,
I'm blessed.
Yeah, and it's even an incredible awareness when you can get to a point knowing that while you're actually in that experience, having that awareness that, like knowing like 5 years now, 10 years from now, is this going to be really that big of a problem or big of a challenge? No, it never is, because you come out of it, and so that greater awareness of reflecting upon your experiences, is so important, because sometimes we can keep going, head down, you're going, you never lift up for air.
Wow.
And a lot of the world lives like that. It's like a conditioned, just repetition, and not asking themselves, do I love what I do? Am I enjoying it? Is there something else that I want to try out? Is this the life that I want to live? And asking yourself those questions. So the reflection time is so important, and giving yourself that space and that time to not necessarily work with your head down, but with awareness, able to ask yourself and your loved ones those questions so that you can move forward with intention and purpose in the direction that you want to move forward.
Yeah, and I feel like in the entrepreneurial space, I feel that lesson of put your head down, get to work, and just grind it out.
Yeah.
It will all come out good. To a degree, I agree. Then there comes a point where you reach a certain level, let's say, of success, where whatever it is that you're doing and you're working on continuously, you see growth and you see change and you see improvement. That is the point where you must really look at where you're at, because this is a great transition into the next phase, into our first year in business in Ivy Leagues. We made 6 figures. Not only did we profit over 6 figures, but we were able to save our first 6 figures. So we made multiple 6 figures. And that was very new to us. Our lifestyle did not change. We still lived way below, but that certainty that we were going in the right direction was there. Then here comes 2019, and we're like, let's go to this event. It was going to be our first ever business event together in...
Leaving Chiang Mai, because we were living there now. It's pretty much almost 2 years now.
Yeah, leaving Chiang Mai, and it was in London.
Yeah.
It was awesome going to London and really experiencing new culture and just the feeling of going to a new place and, being proud of the work that we've done and showing up in a different way. Like, I remember we got outfits and we were like, "What's up, London? Hello." And it was like nice and cool. We had our layers. It was so nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice experience. In London, you're amazing. Now, when we get to London, we go to this business event and it was really nice. We invested our first $25,000, which was crazy to us. But what was even more crazy is that we were in a position we were chasing the person
to take our money. I remember that.
To take our money. I was like, these fools, it's $25,000. Like, don't you want it? And then they're like, yeah, talk to Joe over there. And then we're like, Joe? And then they're like, and then we go to Joe and he's like, did you talk to Phil? And I'm like, what? What is this? Girl, I mean, I can take your $25,000 if you're not trying to pick up ours.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was a heck of a shift because we were nonstop for a whole year grinding it out. And then for the fact that no one wanted to take the $25,000, that should have been our first clue. Looking back on it.
Yeah.
So.
But on the way back from London, back to Chiang Mai, Thailand, right, that's when we also made another big decision because it's also really important the voices that you're listening to. So like when we commit, or I know definitely for me, I like to commit to not a lot of voices. So like I have to really resonate with the person I'm listening to, know that they have the results that I'm looking to achieve or we're looking to achieve, and respect them at a level of their integrity and a lot of their values as well. So we were listening to a specific voice, when it came to business and money and growing. And that's why we did, our first target was to save $100,000 because that's what he said, So that's what we did the first year is we saved that to then invest it into real estate, So that was really awesome accomplishment to be able to do that. And that was big, But he also said to get an office at that point. I remember, and I listened to the details, and I think that's important. And so on the way back, I'm like, we're working remote here, So I'm like, we need expansion. We can't stay where we are. We have to go to another level, We have to go back to the U.S. because I feel like at that point we were in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and it was like, here is so calm and peaceful, and everyone's like, sabai, sabai, relax, relax, And it's a different environment than U.S. You go to U.S. and it's like, people are like...
You better make it happen, honey. If you're walking too slow, then that's a trample on you.
Yeah, so it's a different energy, completely. So at that point, we were living in Thailand for a couple years now. We were still doing our thing, through the online, through Zoom meetings and stuff like that. But it was time for expansion, and we thought relationships was really important, and maybe an office and growing a team in the United States, physically. So that's when on the plane, we are like, where should we move? We didn't want to go back to Florida. And that's when we made the decision there. I don't know how it came up, because we never been to this place. But in that moment, we're like, this is where we're going to move.
It was Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Because we did hear him speak where he was investing real estate, was Florida, and he mentioned Austin, Texas. So I think that's what came. We've been to Houston. I was born in Houston, Texas. A lot of your family lives in Houston, Texas. So we're like, let's try Austin.
Yeah, we were. And to be honest, Austin was lovely.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Austin is the type of city that it feels like a big city, but it's really a small city.
Yeah.
And when we were there, it was 2019, so it was before this like huge tech bust, before Google and bigger companies came in, and it was really nice.
It was awesome.
We love Austin so much, and whenever we go back, it just feels great.
Yeah.
Right? Great energy in Austin. And what's crazy is we always make our biggest life decisions on planes. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
It happens
Something
a lot.
about being in the
Way up
clouds,
there.
in the sky.
Yeah.
You know. But what I love about us too is like we've never been to Austin before.
Never.
So when we made the decision and we know the decision, we make it happen. Yeah. And that's another thing that I think is so important too. You don't, at least for us, is like we allow those things to come, like we mentioned in another episode, and internally, like we make the decision. We're not thinking what can go wrong, or sometimes we're not thinking of the excuses of why it can't happen or why we shouldn't do it. A lot of times. But when internally we know, I feel like, and we're on the same page, we're like, all right, let's do it. So then we made the decision, right? We booked our flight to Houston.
Well, what was crazy is after London, it was like a 7-day trip. The event was 3 days. We go back to Chiang Mai from London, and we cut the contract of where we were staying.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, thank you so much. We appreciate all you have done for us, but it's time to roll out.
And we paid what we needed to pay there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because you can't just cut contracts.
We've learned, right? So we learned that, and we were able to leave on great terms because we can still go back, which is awesome, right? And then we decided from Chiang Mai to go all the way to Florida first. We stopped by Florida. We're like, hello, family. How you guys doing? We've decided to make a change, and we've decided to go to Houston. And then from Florida, we went to Houston. And then in Houston, we were there for like 3 or 4 days. And we got a car, which was nuts. Like, this is what we mean about being committed. We got the car, and we drove from Houston to Austin, and we had no clue where we were going to live. We were not looking at apartments. We were not looking at hotels. We were not going in. We just had a car filled with our, 3 or 4 suitcases, which was our entire life back then. And that was it. We just packed it up and rode to Austin. And when we got to Austin, luckily we found Rainy Street. And if you guys know Austin and you guys know Rainy Street, you guys understand that Rainy Street is awesome.
Yeah.
And back in the day, Rainy Street didn't have all these new buildings that they have built, so it just felt a little bit like an oasis. And when we drove in there, we're like, you know what? That's the one. And it was the Sky House building. Yeah.
When we went in there, and we found it pretty quick. That same day. Then we got the lease, and that's where we lived there. And then we eventually got the connections. We met people, and we got the headquarters in downtown Austin. But soon after, we only stayed in Austin about a year, right? Because soon we were in the physical office. It was gorgeous in downtown, beautiful view.
Gorgeous. That office has my heart still.
We soon realized, we're not office people.
Ooh, no.
It was really difficult. It was really cool to go there sometimes and have the office, but we're ready to travel again.
Yeah. And this is something that I struggled with a lot. Okay, back in the day. And I still kind of do in a way. Because I ask myself, is there something wrong with me? Why can't I commit to what we have not only invested heavily on, both in money, time, energy, and people now? Why can't I just commit, Isabel? And I would ask these questions, and my mind's like, you have feet, you have a pounding heart, you gotta go and remember that passport that your parents worked so hard for you to get. Use it, girl. Go.
Yeah.
That was playing in my mind the whole entire time. And 3 months in Austin, 3 months in, we needed to go to the Philippines. So we took a trip to the Philippines and we stayed there for a week. And that trip resulted into our second business, which didn't last too long, and we'll share it with you guys because I think it connects the whole journey of making it happen and always looking for ways to be creative in the process.
Yeah. We went to Philippines because we had a great team in the Philippines.
Awesome
and we
team.
did a big training, so that was really cool.
Beautiful. And it was like our first or second time actually meeting our team in the Philippines.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think it's a struggle to want to move. I think everybody's designed differently, as we know. And like I know from my human design chart as well that I've seen is like I love new experiences. I want to experience new things. Yes, I can be still in one place and experience new things in the day-to-day, but also it's part of me that I love new experiences to explore. Everybody might not be like that, and they might like to just stay in one place. But I know you like to experience, and that's why it's amazing, you know, that we're with each other and we have each other to be able to explore, you know, all these new places and different things like that.
And thank you, because, you know, I don't like the word struggle.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing it on paper. I don't like writing it. I don't ever connect with it. And the fact that I just said it in a sentence, it made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that I struggle.
Yeah.
I just go through emotions, or I go through moments, and it passes,
Yeah.
you know? And for me to say, oh, I struggled with that, it was something so deep, because even till this day, like, I love the places that we choose to commit to. I love it because we always find the best, and I really, really love it. The fact that I love to, and this is actually something that we talked about when we first met, when we were just dating and we were trying to, you know, get to know each other, which we did, of course, is we want to have places all over the world that we can just go in, explore, enjoy whenever we want, however we want, with our family and friends, with absolutely no struggle. And the only thing I can commit to is you. Because I do feel like committing to a specific place, it just,
And you
there's
don't
so
need
much.
to.
There's so much out there.
There's so much beauty. The world is our home.
Yeah.
You're my home, you know? So it's like,
Likewise.
there's so much beauty to see all over the world. So many cultures, you know? So many, it's just amazing to actually go to the different places, you know? Yeah. And I don't think, I think when people say like I'm struggling, I think that comes from a place where society puts something, this is how it should be and this is what you shouldn't be. Or this is how it shouldn't be. Because people grow up thinking you have to have one place, which is your house, and you stay there. And so a struggle is like fighting against that belief that maybe that you were growing up to think, oh, this is what it has to be, and if I don't want that, then I'm weird or abnormal or it's not right.
Right.
You know? But yeah, I love that we love to experience new places and new people. And going back to Austin, Texas, right? So we're in Austin, Texas, in the office. We made the decision, let's go to South America and travel, right?
Right. So
that's when we were in Austin, like, we can't do this office thing anymore, let's move, you know?
Yeah, after the Philippines, we came back to Austin, and we ended up Airbnb-ing our apartments.
Yeah.
And it went from 1 apartment to 2 apartments to 3 apartments to 4. And I remember there was one video that we watched by this guy that was doing a lot of apartment rentals, and this was when Airbnb was popping, 2019 era. And, you know, the apartments that we chose to rent out were the top of the top, like penthouse status. So it's like, you're getting some good money.
Yeah.
But guess what? The people that rent the penthouses are not always the cleanest. They're not always the nicest with everything. And we obviously had to figure that out. And what we started noticing is if we rent this apartment out for, like, let's say 2 weeks, the cost of just maintaining that apartment over and over and over and over, it wasn't, the profit margins are like so slim.
Yeah,
it's
and
unsustainable.
And we were also taking into account that Austin, Texas was the pop-in city. It was completely booked. It wasn't like no one was booking. It was maxed out, booked.
Yeah.
Getting high top dollar per night.
Yeah.
In that area, because a lot of people come to work in Austin.
Yes.
So we were seeing,
And
like,
party.
let's say the 3 to 4 apartments that we had being fully booked, and looking at the numbers at the end of the month, because we were also running our other business,
Yeah.
Ivy Leads, which was the main priority.
Yeah.
But this was something we were dipping
Like a side hustle.
dipping our toes into, kind of like we were in that era, like, let's try it out. What you heard in that specific video from the guy on YouTube that was building
a massive
portfolio of Airbnb apartments
Massive.
in amazing areas all over.
Yeah.
Okay, he had like thousands. He was like the top guy. What'd he say in that video?
I don't know how many units he had at that point. Okay, I'm not going to go specific, but I clearly remember it was in the evening time. We were having dinner, and I had this playing in the background, and he said he was netting 6 figures a month. And I remember I stopped. I'm like, you're netting 6 figures a month? But you have thousands of units? Hold up. I remember going to my phone, stopping, rewinding, like 4 or 5 times. And I'm like listening, and I'm like, you're only netting 6 figures from all that? I couldn't believe it. In our other business, we were netting 6 figures. And it was like, we don't have so much liability. We don't have such a large team compared to this guy. We don't have the risk. Like,
That's a lot of risk. You're thinking about physical apartments. Thousands.
Apartments.
Think of that. The management that goes into it, the responsibility, a toilet breaks here, whatever happens in the Airbnb apartment.
Yeah, Stacy decides to have a party with her bachelorette, friends, and then Stacy's friend, breaks a hip or something on some stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
So like, it just clicked. It was something like God was like, hey girl, that one's for you.
And I love it because it reminds me, and we have to take these lines, like when you listen to that, it's like you're listening to the future. Is that what you want? Is that like what you're working towards? Because it reminds me the decision you made in architecture.
Oh my gosh.
That you listened to that one line from your professor and you said, wait, that's not the direction I want to go, even if it's 20, 30 years from now.
Come on, babe.
So I think it's about listening. You do a very good job based on what you're just sharing. Like, I think that's so important. Don't let those little things that you hear, and be observant that people are showing you where you, like the vision you have in whatever business you are, your career. Look at maybe the person that's ahead of you and listen to what they're saying. Do you want to go in that direction? And will you be super happy, satisfied, and love their lifestyle, everything about that, if you were to continue forward the next 20, 30 years? Because that can help so much. Stop and making different turns. Like, I'm going to make a left turn instead of continuing straight.
Wow. The fact that you just brought that full circle to me right now in this moment as we're talking, it just closed a specific loop in my life that allowed me to just see things a lot more clear now. Because I'm very big on selective hearing. Like ever since like I remember when we were in when I was in high school and middle school, like I had this group of friends, and this kid Eddie, he would always say that I have selective hearing, because I would only like look back, or like I would only pay attention when it was like about food, going somewhere, ices, playing tennis, or like, you know, very selective.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, because I think that is a skill set that I've developed over time. And without having that selective hearing and understanding what that means at that specific time, I feel like people can get stuck in the rut. Mm-hmm. And I do remember when we were in the London event, you know, just to wrap this up, in the London event, mm-hmm. you know, in every single business conference, they like bring up the most, you know, successful people. Yeah. They put them on stage. They're like, yada, yada, Steve did this, Sally did this, look at them. And I remember the people that were up there, they're like, how many years have you been doing this? And then Steve's like, 25 years. And I remember just like, I can't. Steve, like, what are you doing? Like, your life has been the same for the past 25 years? I'm like, get out of there, Steve, get out. Anyways, yeah. So I think this wraps up this particular episode. And
One more thing, though, yes, before we end this. I don't know if selective hearing is the right term, because I feel like you're very focused, and what grabs your attention is based on what you're focused towards, right? So
abundance.
Yeah, freedom. Abundance, freedom. So
the options. And
what you're interested in.
Yes.
So it's like your RAS, the reticular activated system. You have all of that, and when you see, let's say you want that car, then you see that car everywhere. That's what captures your attention. So you hear everything, but you only pay attention to the things that like are going to capture your attention towards where you want to go. Yeah. You know? Anyways.
Yes.
Because you do listen and you do hear.
Thank you, sweetheart. For all of y'all that don't think I hear,
I do. Just gotta know how to capture your attention. You know?
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Where do you wanna go eat later?
We'll talk about it soon.
All right, so that was awesome. See you in the next episode, where we're going to dive into what happened next, right?
Yes. What happened next was wild.
Yeah.
And this was probably the most pivotal point in our business, because it was the beginning of the end.
We are your hosts, Vanessa and Isabel.